The scene begins on a green landscape, where the MC refers to himself as Kim Suho, but quickly corrects himself, explaining that in this world his name is Lloyd Frontera. This is a tale about how he turned an entire world on its head. Calling out to his guard, Javier, Lloyd remarks that everything is about money, laughing loudly. Javier, puzzled, asks if he's finally lost his mind. A few years ago, the system alerted Lloyd that he had been chosen to have a random wish granted by the absolute power. A clap clap message accompanies the announcement that he is now a character, a knight of blood and iron. Lloyd wonders if this is connected to the book he read last night, and questions whether this wish is a good one since he hasn't even had a drink yet. Lloyd soon realizes that this might be one of those web novels where he's possessed by someone from another world. But why is he waking up face down on a dirt road? Shivering, he feels something is off with his lips. The system informs him that his jaw is out of place from sleeping on the ground. Annoyed, Lloyd snaps at the system, saying he already knows that. He quickly gathers that he has taken over a character in the story. In Night of the Blood, only one person lived in the middle of nowhere and fell asleep on the ground. It was him. Lloyd is then called by his guard, who addresses him as Master Lloyd, explaining that he had been searching everywhere for him and asking him to return to the manor. Lloyd recognizes Javier as the protagonist of Night of Blood and Iron, Javier Ashrahan. Javier looks exactly as described in the book. Lloyd wonders if Javier just called him Lloyd. In the book, Javier is a renowned swordsman, but he starts as an unknown knight working for Lord across Frontera, the eldest son of Baron Frontera. Shocked, Lloyd exclaims that he is the hooligan Lloyd Frontera. Javier, confused, asks if Lloyd called his name, but notes that he's never called him a hooligan before. However, Javier smirks, acknowledging that at least Lloyd is aware of his reputation. The scene shifts to the manor, where Javier explains he doesn't know how Lloyd ended up in such a state. Lloyd had started drinking in the afternoon, got drunk, destroyed pub furniture, and passed out on his way back to the manor. Lloyd reflects that this is truly the life of a hooligan. Javier adds that Lloyd's father was worried and sent him to find him. Though Lloyd may be a hooligan, he's still his son, and if he were to die on the road with his jaw dislocated, his father would be sad. Lloyd, shivering from the cold, laments the lack of heated floors and reminds himself that this is a medieval fantasy novel.
Javier says he'll take care of the rest and report what happened to Lloyd's father the next day. When Lloyd asks if that's necessary, Javier confirms it is. Lloyd then inquires if their family has a lot of debt, a question Javier finds strange as he leaves. Lloyd spaces out, realizing that he knows everything that happens in the story. Just the night before, in his tiny boarding room, he read the final chapter. He knows what happens to Lord across Frontera and his family. They fall victim to a con man, lose everything, and the Baron and Baroness commit suicide. Lloyd, left with nothing, becomes a beggar, drinks all day, and eventually dies coughing up blood. Lloyd screams in frustration, questioning the point of being an aristocrat if it leads to the same miserable life he had in Korea. He wonders what kind of wish would place him in a body destined for such a tragic end. The next day, Lloyd's mother, Marbella Frontera, accompanied by Javier, asks him if he broke things at the pub last night. Lloyd recalls reading the book last night and agrees to go to the pub and apologize, understanding that he must clean up the mess this body made. His agreement shocks both his mother and Javier. The system notifies him that people are extremely confused by his response, leaving Lloyd irritated that they don't give him any credit. As they approach the pub, a person sees Lloyd with Javier and hides. The remaining villagers stare at Lloyd, while a mother warns her child not to look at him. The system informs Lloyd that the villagers absolutely detest him. The MC asks Javier why he's trailing him. Javier replies that his lordship ordered him to escort the MC so yesterday's chaos doesn't repeat. He explains that he's doing this for the soldiers, protecting them from the MC. The MC thinks he needs to shed his reputation as a scumbag, at least so he can get decent food when he ends up a beggar. He imagines that if he can pay off his family's debts first, he could live peacefully as a country baron and enjoy a simple, comfortable life. The MC wonders if there's a cheat or skill he can use, then remembers he has one. The system confirms that the MC is labeled as human scum, with a passive skill that makes others frown and shout in alarm. Furious, the MC tries to destroy the system. Javier then asks where the MC is heading, noting the pub is the other way, and questions if the MC was lying about apologizing. The MC responds that he was just thinking. Javier glares, but when the MC questions him, Javier brushes it off and tells him to go in. As the MC enters the pub, Javier notes that something seems different about the MC since last night, almost as if he's a completely different person. Seeing the feared pub owner, the MC apologizes, admitting last night's mess was his fault. The pub owner trembles, and the system warns that he's in a state of extreme alert. The pub owner even apologizes, begging the MC not to do this. The MC is confused, realizing that being polite seems to scare the owner more. The system then informs the MC that his apology doesn't seem sincere, but the pub owner says it's fine and the MC doesn't need to apologize. On their way back home, the MC asks Javier why the pub owner didn't seem happy, despite the apology. Javier explains that it's to be expected. After all, the MC destroyed the pub owner's furniture and decorations, which were bought with his hard-earned money. Javier adds that the pub owner won't be satisfied until he's compensated. Troubled, the MC thinks about how he'll manage to pay when he's already drowning in debt. He wonders if it's that hard to earn the villagers' goodwill. Javier mentions that the pub owner's mother is sick after the cold winter, and with the MC's behavior, it's no surprise things are tough for him. The MC suddenly realizes the pub was quite cold, with just one fireplace struggling to heat the whole building. Elderly people can't handle such cold without proper heating. An idea strikes him. There are no underfloor heating systems here. If he could introduce the Ondol system, it would be a hit. While Lloyd Frontera could never dream of such things, the MC, real name Kim Suho, majored in civil engineering and has experience from his time as a military engineer. Determined, he decides that this could solve all his financial problems. He tells Javier they need to return to the pub to get their first order. The system then notifies the MC that his real journey has begun, with an RP, relationship points, system activated. The MC's current RP total is 0. MC thinks that it's like experience points, as there is nothing on how one uses them by improving relationships with the key characters. MC realizes that there is something as he sees Javier's head and notices that his approval rating is in -30. MC asks Javier in a romantic manner if he thinks he's really good looking, as he tries to buy Javier's favor. Javier abides by it, saying that he knows, as Javier's approval rating decreases by 1 point. MC is quite frustrated, wondering why it went down, and decides to leave this for later. Rushing it will only make it worse. As they return to the pub, MC declares that he's the purchaser and will be the builder. They will write off all the construction fees against all the property he damaged, and he asks the pub owner to sign it. The system notifies that the pub owner is looking at MC suspiciously. MC thinks that this is the problem. No one has any trust in him. His big plan can't fail from the start, and he doesn't want to resort to this, but he'll use his hooligan image. MC frowns with a disgusted face, saying that they're going to see each other a lot from now on, and they should trust each other well, as the owner, in fear, signs. MC thinks about what he should do now that he has his first order. He frowns as he says he made a good choice, and won't let him doubt as they move out. MC thinks that it's going to be pretty cozy, so he doesn't need to be too precise with his measurements. Javier asks if he threatened the pub owner to sign that contract, and if he's coming up with new ways to cause trouble. MC says that he is not as reasonable as he seems. Has he ever heard of cognitive distortion? He explains that it's where one believes someone will do this, and that because of what they did in the past. It's the distortion caused by prejudice and negative thinking clinging to his brain. Javier responds that it's not prejudice. It's based on experience and statistics. MC argues that our experience and status are not all from the past, and Javier is confused, asking if he was always this smooth of a talker. MC says that he will make them smile, the pub owner and his mother, because those smiles will be the foundation of his money-making. He scoops out the dirt, moves it to pack, and repeats. The timber is from the warehouse at the Balance Resist, so it's going to be a traditional timber frame, using the clay he dug up from the river to complete the walls. He completes it as he huffs out in sweat, thinking that his body is so weak. Javier comments that it didn't take long, to which MC says that it took him a week. Javier is confused, asking if he really is building something, and if he is planning on honoring his contract with the pub owner. MC relaxes, stands up, and thinks that he's so sore, but there is no time to rest. He tries to cut a wooden piece, but he is helped by Javier, who asks what he needs to do. MC says he needs thin little pieces of wood, each about 2 hands length tall, 1 hand's length wide, and 1 finger thick. With his unconditional skills, Javier cuts the wood into the desired pieces. MC thinks that this is truly someone about to become a swordmaster who doesn't need modern equipment. MC pats Javier, saying that when he's done, why doesn't he help him with the digging? Javier is angered that instead of thanking him, MC gives him more work to do. MC insists that Javier is helping because he's curious, right? The work needs to be finished faster. And how do they do it? By doing it together. Javier thinks that he's not wrong. He's completely changed. A few days ago, his past made him utterly impossible to trust. All he has to do is hurry up to see this as they jumble upon the work to complete it. MC shouts that the construction is completed. He suggests they find out what sort of charm he has cooked up for the pub owner. With the fireplace, the pub owner and his mother are in the ondol, and the mother compliments that it's so lovely and good, and all of her stiff joints feel so relaxed. The owner asks how this can be. MC thinks that this must be astonishing to the people of this world. It's the power of underfloor heating. It's like magic. The pub owner thanks MC, saying that it has been so long since he has seen his mother smile like this. Javier is left shocked that the pub owner and his mother smiled just as MC said. He thinks that as if the change in MC's speech and manners weren't enough, now he works hard and keeps his promise to the people of the land. Did he really do this to make those 2 people smile? He brushes it off, thinking that there is no way Lloyd Frontera would ever do such a thing. Yet somehow it has happened. Seeing the smiles of the people, Javier thinks that those 2 people are happy right now. MC gets a notification that Javier's approval rating has increased by 2 points, and he earned 36 RP for slightly improving his relationship with a key character. MC tells Javier that he must be thinking this guy is total garbage, isn't he? Javier declines it. MC thinks that regardless, they have broken ground now. Just with the cost of the timber, it was a total loss. But that's not important because this house is merely his model house that he will use for now. A few days later, a huge crowd of people is lined up, complimenting that they are so pleased with it. MC tries to smooth talk them, asking if it isn't really warm. He bets they probably want a room like this in their homes. MC says he has 2 remote models for it, and will give a 10% discount off the construction cost if they order both. The person declines it. MC asks if they will see each other often and insists they should trust each other as he tries to force him out. MC questions if they don't trust him, as this price is practically giving it away. Suddenly, MC's father, across Frontera, comes in, asking MC what he is doing, leaving MC trembling. In the mansion, at the dinner table, MC thinks that he managed to avoid him until now, but what if he stops him from building? As the Lord asks, what is it that he is up to this time? MC replies that the pub owner ordered a new room, so he built one for him. His father asks if the other people of this land are placing orders as well, to which MC says that he seems to know it all. The father insists, they are the people we must look after, and I won't tolerate you lying or tricking them. MC asserts that he wasn't planning on doing so. He states that he's finished here and will take his leave. His father asks if this is all because of his family situation. He has eyes and ears. He must know what's going on. He asks him not to get involved as he can get out of this trouble soon. MC thinks that he has heard those words before from his real father. He truly believed everything would be okay, but he's not going to be miserable again because of stupid money. He asks his father not to give up because he won't either. At that time, a few years ago, he had wished he had said those words to his father then. MC thinks that now he has 32 Style A orders and 57 Style B orders. He has received half of the money for construction. He is approached by the moneylenders, the conmen. MC thinks that he is the son of the Lord, yet they don't stop to greet him. He recognizes them as the 2 moneylenders try to force the Lord, asking how much longer they're going to put this off, as 5 days have passed since the date they agreed upon. They frown upon him, saying that he bets he has sold some of the items in his place, as he will get some money. MC smiles, thinking that they are here just in time. He has gained some RP after raising Javier's approval rating. A notification pops up that he can invest his RP in gaining abilities. He gains abilities in soil mechanics, hydraulic structural mechanics, and many more. MC thinks, do I really need to say that? I have a scholarship. He realizes that he can't tell what those are based on, just as he will have enough RP, and he will just click it off. He gets a skill in basic surveying. He's shocked that he doesn't need a GPS surveyor. He can just see it all with his own eyes. He gains another skill in basic design. He thinks that things will definitely be a lot easier going forward. But will Javier alone be enough to cover all the construction? It would be nice if he could summon some heavy machinery with his knowledge. The system brings up that he can summon something. Shocking MC. He can spend RP to pick a summon with unique personalities and a wide range of skills, getting his own loyal summon partner. 1 turn equals 50 RP. He is quite taken by this, thinking that if it's what he thinks it is, it could be useful as heavy machinery. He must get some RP, and to do that, he needs key characters to like him. The moneylenders force the Lord, saying that if he has no money, they can make a suggestion. If he can sell the Baroness and her ladies to a very nice place, they would fetch a huge sum. Shocked by this, MC enters the room, saying that just because he is a lender doesn't mean he lacks manners. The moneylender shoos MC away. The moneylender asks if he's the heir with the peculiar manners. Is that why he is rudely interrupting their discussion? MC says, whatever, show him the warrant. As per the Royal Family and Nobility Act, Article 3, Clause 6, all nobles may exercise their right to protect their interests as vassals of the king, and entry into the residence of a noble family without a warrant is considered trespassing. There's a key section. The moneylenders get angry, saying that they have never heard of such a law, to which MC replies, let's go find out, together. He calls for Javier. As he enters the room, MC orders him to cut off the trespasser's arms. Javier prepares his sword. The moneylenders get scared. MC says, let's go find out whose side the judge will take. As Javier unsheathes his sword, the moneylenders run away, saying that he will regret it. The Lord asks what he just did, as they don't have enough to stave them off. MC gives him a bag full of money, saying that he was planning to give it to him after he collected all of the money from the orders. But this should be enough to cover a big part of this month's interest. The Lord asks if taking money from the people, extorting money like this, is legal. Javier assures him, fear not, he will ensure that Master Lyad fulfills the orders. The Lord is shocked that, looking at Javier's face, he can completely trust him. As MC takes his leave, Javier asks how he knew about such a law, as he thought he was the ignorant type. MC gets angry, saying that he just picked it up. It's true that he did pick it up somewhere from Javier in the book. It was right after the Baron and Baroness committed suicide. The 2 loan sharks came to dig up the bodies and sell them, and that's when Javier said it. After he says that, it was off with their heads, and when Javier is brought before a judge, he is found not guilty. MC thinks that knowing the content of the story is a huge plus. He expects to get a pop-up any second now. As the pop-up arrives, the Baron's rating is increased. MC smiles, thinking that he's on his way to get a summon. At night, alone, MC thinks that there is no one around, so he notifies the system to show him the summon game. As he starts on the roller, MC is amazed to see a magic circle that is over the top. It's so tiny and freaking noisy. A rabbit-like creature pops out and stares at MC. MC thinks, so it's a dud, giving a frowny face. The rabbit chokes out a scream for MC. He asks if he's not a dud and if he can help him, like shooting acorns or something. The rabbit replies that he doesn't need it. It coughs out something and throws it. MC realizes it's a Podong user manual. He thinks it's an adorable hamster. The system messages MC to give it lots of love and feed it one of the enclosed sunflower seeds. Its size will change, and the blue one makes it shrink back to a smaller size. MC learns that one set of 2 colors of sunflower seeds costs 1 RP. He questions how big it can get. MC thinks hamsters are good at tunneling, so if it can get as big as a human, that would be quite beneficial. He feeds it and MC is slammed by its huge size. He can't believe it's over 30 feet. The hamster gives a smug face as it laughs at MC. MC thinks he hit the jackpot and has gotten heavy equipment. He knows that if someone sees him with this massive creature all of a sudden, they will get very suspicious. He'll just carry a book on summoning with him, and if anyone asks, he'll say he's a summoning master. MC decides to figure out the labor part of their construction project. The next day, MC charges out a couple of soldiers, shouting that safety comes first. He thinks this is so frustrating. They're just soldiers who get paid to do nothing, and the Baron has a ton of debt. Why hasn't he gotten rid of them? MC thinks it's a good thing that he can put them to work. He shouts that they see the pile of clay over there. That's the clay he spent all night digging up. Actually, it was the hamster digging it up in only 30 minutes. MC shouts that they're about to break ground on the estate reinvestment, talking about the construction business for the people. To do that, he needs all of them to move the clay to the construction site. Seeing the gloomy faces of the people, MC thinks that it's to be expected. From behind, Senior Knight Newman comes in, asking what he's asking his men to do. MC thinks that he expected him to confront him. In this land, there are 3 knights. Newman, the man here now, under him is Baron Byron, and then we have the protagonist of the novel, Javier. At the start of the book, when the state falls into ruin, Javier and Byron remain until the end, but their friend here is the first to betray the Baron. That's because Neumann sells information on the Baron to the con man and leaves him with a huge debt. It won't do for this man to be the land's foremost knight. MC asks what it looks like he's doing. Newman replies that he has been ordering these honorable men to cover themselves in dirt. As a commander, he won't tolerate this. MC says he has his father's permission. Newman responds that he doesn't know how MC fooled his lordship, but may he remind him of his prior conduct. He can think of no other reason for MC to use his men, other than for his personal gain. MC smiles smugly, saying that it sounds right if Newman wants to be done angering him. MC thinks, look at this fragile little man break down. If he ever played an online game, his fingers would be flying across the keyboard. He thinks he has to press his buttons. MC shows with his shoulder as Newman gets angry, calling him names. MC asks, what's that? Let's forget about ranks and fight this out. He challenges him to a duel. Newman says he will make him regret it, as he is filled with deep anger. In the room, Javier asks MC if he will duel Newman in 1 month's time and if he's confident he'll win. MC turns to him saying, what, are you dumb? Of course not. He's a low-level sword expert knight who can use the mana heart skill, and I'm a nobody. What do you think? We're even thinking about it? As Javier is about to unsheath his sword, he thinks that he was close to cutting MC down. To suddenly throw dirt in Newman's face and challenge him to a duel, he thought MC was back to his old hooligan ways, but it all seems too calculated. He asked the Baron to separate them in order to pick a fight with him, and then he designated Sir Byron as a substitute overseer to supervise the work of the soldiers. Now he says he's not confident about the duel. Javier asks if there's something he needs him to do. MC asks him to teach him how to use the sword, but Javier refuses. MC asks why. Javier says, first of all, his job is only to watch him, and second, if scum, he corrects himself to human trash, learns how to use a sword, others around him would be in even greater danger. MC asks if he's supposed to tone it down when he corrects himself. He asks if Javier is saying he doesn't want to teach him. MC adds that even teaching him how to sword fight means he's going to cure his insomnia. Javier is confused about how MC knows about it. MC knows it was included in the book. He also knows about the cause of Javier's insomnia. In the book, the Knights of the Blood and Iron Knights are typically divided into 4 ranks: low-level sword expert, mid-level sword expert, high-level sword expert, and sword master. Javier is on the verge of transitioning from a high-level sword expert to a sword master. He's right on the border of human and superhuman, with his senses so sharp that there's no way he can sleep. In other words, it's the side effect of being a sword master. MC thinks there's no way he would know that in the background like this. MC asks if they have a deal or not, saying it's no use pretending. He has insomnia written all over his face. Javier agrees to it, smugly saying that, of course, he knows for a fact that MC will fail. There's no remedy he hasn't tried to cure his insomnia, from sleep cognition therapy, herbs, and even Eastern medicine. But seeing Javier snoring off in sleep, MC thinks that he's got him all figured out. He also knows how he's going to cure his insomnia. He first fell into a deep sleep while listening to a magic circle, so what he did was read his reinforced concrete textbook. At least 18 times more sleep-inducing than any magic spell. MC is excited that his swordsmanship is next. The next day, Javier is as fresh as a newborn. He asks for 50 laps around the perimeter. MC abides by it. Javier is confused that he's running without complaint. MC completes a run, saying he doesn't like this and asks to learn some skills. He completes another round, asking if Javier would be like, you don't have what it takes, and refuse to teach him. It's exactly what Javier thinks. Hitting the bullseye. MC is excited that he's going to finish running. He thinks this is hard, to be honest. He would be lying if he said it wasn't, but compared to when he was in Korea, this is so much better. Without even a family to welcome him, he awoke each day in a tiny room at a boarding house. He would spend all day carrying bricks up to the roof of a 4-story building, and all night long loading and unloading delivery trucks. Also, he wouldn't starve to death, and he held on to hope that one day things would get better. Hold on a little longer, as he was working so hard just to move a little bit more. But the hope was lost. MC thinks that compared to that pain, that despair, this is nothing. Javier thinks that if MC is so determined, he will teach him his sword-fighting techniques. The system notifies that Javier's approval rating has increased by 1. Meanwhile, the Baron asks Newman if he can't believe his disrespect when he has been protecting their family for 5 generations. He thought Newman had come to his senses recently, but he was wrong. The Baron states that he has no just cause to stop this duel. However, he's here. He asks Newman not to be too harsh on him and to pull him back to his senses. Newman abides by it, but thinks that duels don't always go the way they want. If he cuts off that cocky hooligan's head and kills him, and if the Baron takes issue with that, he would kill the Baron and Baroness too and disguise it as a suicide. As planned, he will leave this tiny village and go somewhere bigger. Thanks to that hooligan, things are speeding up for him. Then, after 1 month, on the fighting ground, Newman asks MC if he is ready. MC smiles, saying that he is ready to knock his lights out. As the surrounding people are shocked, they ask, "Is that a shovel? He's going to fight Sir Newman with a shovel?" Newman is visibly angry. Javier thinks, are solid iron shovels what he asked for? The Lord is worried that it was all a joke in the end. Javier doesn't think this is a joke. When he thinks of what MC showed him over the last month, performing basic training in the small hours without a peep, and running around the construction sites to teach the village engineers about the handle and sword practice right up until he went to sleep. This was not the disposition of someone preparing a joke. Master Lloyd is more serious than ever. The Baron announces that the duel is about to begin. As both of them are ready, Javier thinks, "What is with that lag buster pose?" Newman charges in, shouting, "Are you playing with me right now?" MC points the shovel towards him and deflects it away. Javier and the Baron are surprised to see this. Newman is taken aback. He thinks that luck doesn't strike twice, but his attack is again deflected with ease. Javier thinks, his movement is so efficient. Is it a skill adapted especially for real-life fighting? It's as if their swordsmanship has evolved through the ages. MC smiles, saying that any Korean man would know about this, as this is the essence of modern hand-to-hand combat, bayonet training. MC charges in, thinking that, besides, the shovel is a much more formidable weapon than one may think. The wide blade can be used as a shield, and it can cut through thick tree roots. If he can do this, he can ride it like a pogo stick as he jumps upon the shovel, laughing. Javier thinks, was this all a joke? He's taken aback as Newman charges in. MC thinks that the first weapon he prepared to destroy Newman was the shovel, and the second is the basic sword-fighting steps he learned from Javier. MC deflects all the attacks. Newman is taken aback, thinking, this bottle-loving lowlife, where is the strength coming from? MC's third weapon is this skill expansion, shoveling level 1. The +1 in approval rating he got while training with Javier, plus what he got from the Baron and Baroness seeing their son work hard for the first time in his life, brought his RP to 97, and gave him the sweetest skill ever. Newman exhales, thinking that he has no choice against a civilian. He doesn't think he would need to use this as he powers up his mana heart. MC realizes that is the mana heart. Newman says that they are only getting started as he charges in. Javier thinks that for someone without the skills, it takes over 10 years. For a regular person, it takes at least 5 years to summon mana heart. It would be impossible for MC to block an attack with so much mana. But as MC tries to put the shovel up as a shield, Newman thinks that he's a fool, as he will crack that blade and his head in one fell swoop. The Baron and Baroness are worried about their son, but the attack is blocked. Newman thinks, what is this? It feels as if all his strength is leaving his body. MC thinks that now is the time for the fourth weapon he has prepared. MC thinks of the mana conjuring skill that made Javier the strongest man in the world in the story, the Asharan core technique. Newman realizes that MC absorbed his mana. MC whaps Newman down, and a tooth flies out. Newman realizes it's his tooth as he gets punched down by MC. He's grounded, and the nearby soldiers are shocked that Master Lloyd has won. The Baron declares MC the winner of this duel. Newman is shocked, asking, "What did he say? He, the sword expert, lost to that lowlife." MC says that he won the duel. With that over, MC says that it's time for him to take a pounding. As he's about to hit Newman, the Baron asks MC to stop, as the duel is over. But MC, paying no heed to this, devilishly spanks Newman with an evil laugh, enjoying it like ice cream, leaving the Baron screaming at him. The soldiers tried to stop MC, saying it was enough, and the duel was over. Seeing this, Sir Byron questions whether he had lost his senses. Javier thought he didn't know, while MC brushed the soldiers away, telling them to let him go. He took a breath but struck Newman again. Javier thought that, from his point of view, MC seemed to be hitting him precisely to hurt every part of his body. The calm expression on MC's face suggested he had already predicted the events to come, as if he knew everything from the start. Javier recalled that MC had asked him to teach him the Azrahan core technique. Javier looked shocked as MC questioned why he is showing as if he were on the run. MC asked if he had ever requested him to teach him how to steal something. Then MC explained that the core method draws in mana from the surroundings, not the mana conjured by the individual. Javier confirmed this but asked how MC knew, given that it was a technique he hadn't shared with anyone and was still incomplete. With a shameless grin, MC said Javier talked about it in his sleep. Every time MC tucked him into bed with his lullaby. Javier wondered if he was just imagining MC's strangely brazen expression. Yet, beyond talking in his sleep, there was no way MC should have known about it. Javier apologized, saying he couldn't teach the technique because it wasn't finished yet. MC responded that this meant Javier would teach him if he helped him complete it. Javier agreed, saying that if it was possible, he would comply. MC guessed that Javier was trying to merge external mana with the mana heart within him, but it was bouncing off. He suggested that from the mana heart's perspective, the absorbed mana felt like a foreign object. MC told Javier it was simply a matter of changing how he looked at it. Instead of mixing the external mana with the mana in his heart, he should condense it nearby and use it around him, treating it as both part of himself and separate at the same time. Javier admitted that the idea seemed possible and asked how MC came up with it. MC casually said he was just spitballing, and it happened to make sense in the moment. Thanks to MC's advice, Javier perfected the Azrahan core technique, which had troubled him for a long time. On his first try, he managed to form 3 circles, and with further training, he was confident he could reach 4, 5, or even more. MC's approval rating increased by 5, but MC shamelessly questioned if Javier thought he had nothing better to do than learn to use the mana heart. He claimed he didn't need it and only wanted to know how to absorb the mana that touched his body, not the mana from the air. Javier thought MC had figured out that mastering this knowledge would allow him to defeat Sir Newman, which he did with ease. Later, MC's father, Baron Frontera, confronted him, asking if he hadn't heard his warnings not to soil the knight's own any longer. MC interrupted and told his father to look under the tablecloth before saying anything more. Beneath it were letters. MC explained that the letters contained evidence of communications between Sir Newman and a man who had sabotaged a real estate deal. They also revealed details about the financial state of their land and the lordship's intentions to forge documents. Everything the two had discussed was in those letters. Newman wondered how MC had obtained them, but MC smiled knowingly. He revealed that Javier found the letters later in the book, and thanks to Podong, who had been sent to search for them the previous night. At that moment, Baron is taken aback seeing this. MC believes that, as he thought MC's father must truly be a kind man, as anyone else would have demanded the offender's head. MC suggested that if his father was considering how to deal with the traitor, he had a proposal. He said they should drop a vicious mouse on the man's head. If the mouse injured him, he should be exiled from the land. Otherwise, he should be demoted to a foot soldier and given a chance to repent. The nearby onlookers murmured among themselves, questioning whether a mere mouse could harm Sir Newman. The father considered MC's words. He realized the punishment also served as a warning, reminding everyone that greater consequences could follow if the offender failed to pass the test. as the Baron agreed, saying they would proceed as MC had suggested. MC then asked Sir Newman if he had any objections, but Sir Newman, grateful for the mercy, expressed his thanks. MC thought to himself that offering mercy to someone guilty was futile. Such people didn't change or repent, they only grew more cunning, plotting new ways to rise above their benefactor. Sir Newman silently vowed revenge, intending to destroy MC and his father. MC, noticing the sly smile on Newman's face, remarked that it was nice to see him smile, since it would be the last time. He then gave an almond to Peep Dong, saying that the best way to ask for forgiveness was to remember that there is none. Suddenly, Peep Dong swallowed the almond-shaped object and transformed into a gigantic figure, shocking everyone present. The beast charged at Sir Newman from the air as it crushed him. Watching the chaotic scene, MC remarked that it was a shame for Newman, as his exile had now become certain. With that, the rotten apple of the land was finally gone. While Peep Dong was digging holes throughout the streets, Javier questioned MC, asking what Peep Dong was doing. MC replied that he was carving out a road, and now that the once feeble soldiers looked like proper construction workers, the real work could begin. MC mentioned that there was once an ancient city called Rome, and they were absolutely enamored with roads. The method they used to create the great roads was what MC would implement, starting now, and it would extend from his lordship's manor to the base of the eastern mountain. Javier asked why they needed a road, to which MC told him to just wait and see, as it would put their land on the map. Javier then questioned where MC had suddenly acquired this knowledge, saying that he had built a heating system that no one had ever heard of and subdued a high-level creature out of nowhere, as if questioning his identity and whether he really was Master Lloyd. A warning popped up, indicating that Javier had suspicions about MC's identity and was quite taken aback. MC thought that from what he had read about MC's character in the book, if he found out that MC was someone else who had stolen the body of his lord's son, he might very well use his sword on him. However, there was no reason to act badly, as MC had a special skill for moments like this. MC, making a disgusting face, claimed that he had studied while no one was looking. He asserted that if he wasn't allowed to do that using his special skill of stubborn insistence, there would be questions. Javier pressed MC about what he was doing, saying that all he did was sleep. MC shot back, asking if Javier had been watching him 24/7, even when he went to sleep or while he was taking a dump. Javier questioned how he explained the summoning ability that even a secret mage with 20 years of training would struggle with. MC argued how he could be so adept at conjuring mana, given that he was in his early 20s and had never had a teacher. He must be a genius. Javier, taken aback, stated that he had never thought of himself as a genius. MC replied that if he could be considered a genius, then he couldn't be, even though he had been born with the gift of summoning. This left Javier speechless. MC turned to leave, saying that he had things to do. As he moved away, he thought it would be fine. MC headed towards Sir Byron and asked him to see the roads while he was gone. Sir Byron affirmed that he would take care of it and wished MC a good trip. Javier suggested that if he could come with MC, as it was his job to watch over him, but MC affirmed, calling it a silly thing to say. When Javier asked where they were going, MC replied that they were heading somewhere far away to reclaim some stolen money. The scene shifted to the small border town of Ludania, near an inn where the real estate conman Tordes was cursing, lamenting the unbelievable loss of all that money. He grumbled that they must have used some kind of trick. His guard questioned if that was how gambling worked, saying that until now, Tordes had earned his fortune that way. The guard added that if Tordes couldn't pay him for protection, he would be leaving. Tordes screamed that he had had enough and would come up with the rest, insisting that he couldn't go. The guard warned him to keep in mind that he would be gone the moment Tordes defaulted. Tordes retorted that he could always find another easy mark to scam for money. But first things first, there were people out to get him, so he had to stay hidden for a while. Just then, MC questioned if Tordes was talking about him as he crashed through the door to enter. Tordes asked who MC was, to which MC replied that if he didn't know he looked like, introducing himself as Lloyd Frontera, and asking if that rang any bells. Tordes, now scared, urged his guard that they had to run. The guard seized Tortoise and flew through the window, but they were intercepted by Javier, who warned the guard to leave Tortoise there and walk away quietly. If he refused, he would be seen as a co-conspirator. Javier thought, as MC had said, that they would try to escape out of the back window. The guard, unleashing his spell, questioned whether he even knew how to hold a sword. Seeing this, MC thought that Javier vowed revenge after losing his master, and now he was managing to find the conman Tortoise and confront his bodyguard. It was Javier's first time coming face to face with a dark enchanter. He stated that Javier struggles to hold his own against his gravitational magic, as the guard launches his spell against him. Javier slashed it off with his own magic, but the enchantment surrounded him, making him a target of a gravitational attack. MC realized that in the book, when Javier faced that guy, he was just an average high-level sword expert, but now Javier was equipped with a triple circle mana heart as he slashed through the enchantment. Javier questioned what that was and whether it was magic that increased one's weight, causing the guard to sweat. The guard flew away, declaring that their contract was no longer valid. Javier approached, reminding the Tortoise that committing fraud against a noble family was a serious crime as he tossed him aside. Javier threatened to cut off the Tortoise's legs and make him crawl to the courthouse, swinging his sword toward him. However, MC intervened, blocking Javier's swing and saying he was out of control. If they went to court, they would have his head. Javier thought it was surprising that MC showed pity for another person. In the inn, as Tortoise was apprehended and trembling, MC smiled, saying there was no need to be scared. Everyone gets a little greedy sometimes, and he could see why Tortoise made the most of the opportunity. MC mentioned that beheading people for it seemed a bit harsh. Tortoise questioned if MC was going to forgive him, to which MC replied that he wouldn't take him to court. He bet Tortoise was grateful for that, so he would hand over all the Baron's remaining assets. Tortoise affirmed that he would, saying he would do so gladly if it meant MC would forgive him. MC said he declined that, insisting it was a given. They were just getting started, and he needed to do something else to be forgiven. Tortoise assured him he would do whatever MC said, claiming his word was a command. MC replied that it was simple, he just had to sign this contract, and they would be done. Tortoise questioned what the contract was for, and MC explained it was just a normal employment contract with a paid salary. However, 80% of his salary would be kept back as repayment for the money he had defrauded them. After just 520 years, he would be all paid up, shocking Tortoise to his core. Javier thought he knew it. MC wasn't just going to forgive the man. MC smiled, thinking it would be foolish to kill someone who owed a debt. He would never let that go to waste, planning to suck Tortoise dry for the rest of his life. Tortoise screamed that he had never seen such a shameless, unjust contract, prompting MC to warn him that he couldn't force him to sign it. They could go to court instead, which made Tortoise tear up and ultimately sign the document. The scene shifted to the carriage, where Javier commented that they had gotten some money from this man and shouldn't have to worry about interest for a few months. MC questioned what he meant, saying he was going to invest the money in hiring more men with what they had already started. He thought that 30 soldiers were not enough, and even if he put up a help-wanted sign, he doubted any villagers would apply. Mac curses that this honorable reputation was really annoying. A few days later at the Frontera barony, a notification order was placed for the worker's salary of 20 gold per week, which was guaranteed. A long line formed, and MC asked Javier if the people didn't hate him. Javier replied that they absolutely did. However, he had delivered affordable Ondol systems on time, dealt with the traitor, and even called up a summon. Now he was considered a trustworthy and talented man, which surprised MC. The person questioned the work contract, and MC asked him to sign it. The person affirmed, greeting MC with gratitude. He expressed that their child would suffer from a severe cold every time there was a cold spell. But this year, thanks to MC's Ondol system, they no longer had to worry. MC, taken aback, thought he was happy for him, realizing he was just trying to satisfy his greed, which now embarrassed him. The person mentioned that he had a relative in the neighboring land of Leona, and wanted to know if MC would accept an order from him as well. MC realized that this was the first stage of his big plan. He hadn't built all those Ondal systems at a loss for nothing. He would use the travel expenses as an excuse to increase the cost, and he would clean up, smiling at the thought. He mentioned that he would need to charge extra for the travel expenses, which made Javier think there was that shitty look on MC's face again. This was the reason he'd built those HVAC systems at a loss. Javier pondered the construction of the road to the mountain as the scene shifted to the mountain, where MC said that pretty soon, these mountains would be stripped. Javier asked what he meant, and MC explained that an Ondal required an astronomical amount of fuel, and the trees there wouldn't be enough. Javier questioned why MC would proceed knowing this would happen, to which MC replied that was why he was laying down coal. At the end of the road, they were going to mine for black coal, laughing as he said they would sell it at a huge markup. Once people got used to Ondal systems, there would be no getting out of it, and he would give the people of their land a discount, just a very small one. Javier thought MC was a sneaky bass. Turning to Javier, MC asked if he thought of him as a sneaky, deceitful person. He argued that they wouldn't be able to repay their debts without doing this. Javier paused for a moment, admitting this was the best solution for now. However, it wasn't as if the Baron would leave the black coal undistributed, as previous barons had tried several times and failed. MC stated that he knew the mine had collapsed because of the weak bedrock, but he could do it. They had the benefit of modern execution technology, the shield tunneling method, and there was so much for them to do. Javier thought about the terms MC had presented, admitting he had never heard of them, but he felt they had to trust him for now. Their lord was a new man with a plan. Meanwhile, in the mine, an army of creatures was swarming in. MC clapped to summon a spell, calling forth a luxury Gangnam apartment building. As it descended, he thought it would be nice to have a cool skill like that. However, this was taking forever. With his intermediate design level, the optional skill of printing architectural drawings was quite low. MC shrugged it off, wishing he could summon workers he didn't have to pay. The system stated that if he didn't like it, he could always drive by high, to which MC thanked him, saying that this skill was the best. With the new incident, he raised his approval rating with Baron and Sir Byron, earning him 639 RP. With those points, he went on a leveling up spree and was able to gain all sorts of skills. Upon reaching the cave, MC realized he needed to dig deep. With his optional skill intermediate, he discovered it allowed him to see up to 5 meters in depth, enabling him to find a safe path. He recognized that the problem was they needed to dig it out as quickly as possible. Relying solely on human power would take too long, and they would tire too quickly. PP Dong was in bad shape from constructing the road and all the long-distance jobs. Even if he recovered, he would be too big, and it would be too risky. MC thought about what he had to do. He needed to use that random skill summon game, and he had plenty of RPs. Upon using the skill, a cute snake-like creature descended. MC questioned what the hell this was and if it was for assassinating people or if it had poison. He thought it looked pretty useless from the outside, but then again, PP Dong had looked useless too at first, and he bet she had her uses as well. MC asked the snake if it could grow big by any chance. He then questioned whether it had any special skills, to which the creature affirmed it did. A few days later, the first step of mining began at the front of the shield tunneling machine. The enlarged Bangul was digging out and eating dirt, currently using the skill of accelerated dirt creation. The second step involved Bangul launching steel chunks while Javier sliced them into uniform lengths, helping to cast steel segments to support the earth. Javier mused that he felt like a knight and questioned why he was underground slashing at a giant snake. These process repeated again and again. He thought he was getting dizzy from the lack of oxygen. If he hadn't installed that pipe, they would have been unconscious already. Javier questioned MC, suggesting it might be best for him to head out now and take a break like the others. MC called him a fool, insisting he was in charge and would stay on site. He realized that in Korea, many bosses just showed off their titles and never bothered to show up at the site. He swore he would never be like that and would remain present. MC scanned the area, spotting black coal. He cheered, stating they were almost there and motivated the soldiers to push through. He thanked Bangul, saying they had gotten it done 10 times faster thanks to her. He informed the soldiers that once they reached the coal layer, they would dismantle the shield and enlarge the mining space. He added that it will be dangerous, and they have to remain cautious. But suddenly, a noise erupted, and the wall crumbled. MC questioned that the rock was solid. There was no reason for it to cave. He scanned it and noted several holes, sensing they hadn't been there before. Suddenly, a huge ant-like creature emerged from the wall, and Javier confronted it, attempting to cut its antennae. MC slammed it with his shovel, killing it. He thought it had scared the crap out of him, and this wasn't even in the book. He questioned what it was. MC realized why they were sitting there. Ants lived in colonies, and there was a huge army of them. He screamed at the people to run away while Javier took care of the remaining ants. MC muttered that there could be around 2,000 in number, and if those made it outside, their baron would be finished. MC suspected that Javier could keep holding them back, but it seemed impossible. There wasn't enough oxygen. Without dynamite, the shaft wouldn't collapse, and even if it did, they could dig themselves out in no time. Javier slapped MC, urging him to get a hold of himself and not to let panic consume him. MC yelled back that he wasn't panicking, he was thinking of a plan. Javier insisted he needed MC to think quickly, as he couldn't hold out for much longer. MC thought hard, his mind racing until an idea struck him. He grabbed a fire stick, announcing that they would face the ants head-on and would go into the ant nest. Javier thought it sounded like a ridiculous plan, but he must have his reasons. With that, MC charged toward the colony, followed by Javier. The scene shifts to the home, where it is reported to the Baron that there is a problem. Wild ants have been spotted in the cave. Baron questions what is happening. It is reported that MC ordered all the workers out and stayed behind with Javier, while Sir Byron is prepared to shut off the mine. The Baron dons his armor, declaring that he will get to mine and will go as well. The scene then shifts back to the cave where Javier questions whether they can hear anything and how much further they have to go in. MC screams that Javier needs to stop talking because he is really busy. He thinks it is a good thing that the ants aren't leaving the caves, but it is not good that they are being surrounded. He realizes that Javier can't hold on much longer. The hot and airless cave is too much even for him. MC knows he needs to find a solution and that there isn't a second to waste. He thinks that they have a methane gas layer here. There are methane-producing bacteria that live in coal, resulting in pockets of methane gas dotted around. If he could just find it, he could blow up the whole colony. MC scans the area and spots the methane layer. He digs with his shovel, slicing up the ants as he works. He exerts his strength while an ant charges at him, but Javier slices them one by one with a huge scream, prompting both Javier and MC to cover their ears. MC realizes that the enormous queen ant is now present, and the remaining ants take a step back. He asks Javier if he can hold her back, but Javier declines. MC asks if Javier wouldn't tell him after he tries, to which Javier answers that some things are just known without needing to try. He then wonders if they have a choice at this moment. Charging towards the queen, Javier channels his aura to block her attack, while MC continues to shovel down. MC thinks that Javier is holding up for now, but he has to hurry. As he reaches the lair, he screams to Javier that they need to run to the exit while he throws. While they rush toward the exit, MC thinks of the small tunnel they came through. He jumps through the exit and throws the fire stick at the queen, which bounces into the methane layer. A huge blast erupts, sending the ants to bits. The entire cave shakes, prompting the Baron to call for his son, while Sir Byron holds him back, saying he cannot put himself in danger as well. Meanwhile, Javier successfully protects MC. MC thinks that his plan has succeeded, but Javier ended up shielding him from the blast. He apologizes to Bangle L for what happened to her because of him. Realizing that it's not good if this side has collapsed as well, MC, now running out of oxygen, thinks he needs to hurry. They must go through that way, but he has to dig more than 15 feet, and the oxygen remaining is quite low. He wonders what else he can do, and feeling helpless, he thinks he needs to dig it up. As Javier Blurry sees MC digging, he hears him saying they are getting out of here together, trusting in MC's back. However, Javier soon loses consciousness. a notification appears, stating Javier's determination not to give up has touched MC, increasing his approval rating by 6%, boosting MC's morale. He thinks that he might as well try, and despite feeling it's all for nothing, he calls out to the messenger to search for a skill he can upgrade. The system scans for the pre-existing skills, while the skill identified as absorbing mana from the surroundings is identified. While application of the absorber skill is made, he can combine these skills into the skill as Asura core technique. MC thinks even after the duel against Newman, he practiced any chance he got. Whatever he learned how to do, he can improve that skill. MC clicks the Yes button to upgrade button to get the advanced skill of Asurahan code technique of single circle of level 5. MC can feel that it's that he has a mana heart, but he can definitely feel the mana circle energy while it's too weak. MC thinks that usually the skills that he possesses can improve only a little bit even with lots of hard work. However, he has RP, and he can blow it up to huge levels in no time. MC levels up the core technique, giving it all, as the level single mana circle level mounts to level 6, and his mana amplified to 125%. MC again and again upgrades the code technique, which develops into Asran code technique double circle level 1, and his mana application at 200%. MC thinks that he has something else to tell him, and the thing he had when he leveled up surveying and designing skills as the optional skill of Energizer pops up in the latent power surge. MC calls out for the Energizer to shovel quickly. MC notices with his scan that there is just a tiny hole. And if he can just see one tiny little hole, he can do it. While he penetrates through the cave, he spots a hole, and he can see the end while the oxygen remains critically down. MC screams out as he falls down, and the Energizer has reached its 10-minute time limit. MC calls out for the latent power surge, taking up the shovel and again penetrating through the boulders. As MC falls off, thinking that it is way too short, and he wanted to live the nice, sweet life of the son of a country aristocrat while he closes his eyes, but suddenly a crumble noise makes a sound as Pipidong appears. MC smiles as he takes in the breath of oxygen. MC, with his sheer determination, stands up, thinking that the sweet life of a nobleman's sons awaits himself. At night, Sir Byron tells the Baron that it's dangerous to go any further, for which the Baron says that he and others can turn back, and he will keep going until the end. He sees a shadow as to see MC carrying up Javier with dead eyes, as the system pops up that MC was able to overcome his physical limitations in an extreme moment through impressive improvisation, and this experience is having a strong effect on his Asran code technique. The Baron runs towards MC, who falls into his lap, and the scene shifts towards the next morning as the people talk about MC, that they thought that he was just some troublesome drunk, but they had him all wrong. As they talk, that once nephew was working in the mine and saw it himself. When the wild ants appeared, he didn't hesitate to evacuate the workers first. And he heard that MC and Sir Javier ran into the ant colony, just the two of them, and they got rid of the ants. And he, MC, carried Javi out on his back even though he was hurt himself, saying that he is completely changed from the Lord Lyod they knew. In the mansion, MC wakes up as the system pops up, stating that all of the Baron's subjects were deeply moved by his heroic courage and sent their praises for this great achievement. He had been awarded a large amount of bonus RP of 500. MC thinks that who cares about a hero, but 500 RP sweet, making a disgusting smiling face. In the cave, as the people see MC coming with Sir Javier, they call him Master Lyod, greeting and bowing down, thanking him for his gracious service. The people, gleaming with admiration in their eyes, see MC as someone who fought and risked his life for them. He's different from the regular aristocrat. He is embodiment of noblesse oblige. However, MC feels uncomfortable, as it has been 2 weeks since the wild ant incident. During that time, work on the mine has gone smoothly. Everything looks to be in order, but safety comes first. Especially now, he must find even the smallest hazards and resolve them. Javier questions MC, asking if they are searching the ant tunnels again, and he wants to know something. MC asks him to be brief, noting that there is very little air in there. Javier wonders why MC, just a working person, is doing this when he could simply get the workers to do it. He thinks whether MC is truly worried about the workers' safety and adds that he is the one who should be protected if possible. MC calls him a fool, saying that the greater the risk, the more reason the man in charge should be on the front line. He smiles, saying that this way, no one can complain when he gets paid. Javier contemplates whether he can tell if MC is good or bad. He then points out that they've reached the end of the tunnel, and there's nowhere left to search. MC asks him to wait, thinking there must be a space behind it. Javier questions whether they must really keep digging to find out for MC, stating that he knows this place could be full of things, which could be hazardous. MC crunches down the wall and spots an orc apprehended with a lot of pigs. Javier says this looks dangerous and that he will take care of it, but MC tells him to hold on. He doesn't seem like that. He's pretty reckless. Javier questions what kind of creature the orc is, to which MC replies that of course he's an orc, just a typical one. MC questions if the orc is dead, and Javier doubts it, saying that wild ants paralyze their prey and store them away for food. MC grins, thinking that he's hit the jackpot. The scene shifts to the mansion where the orc introduces himself as Arash, stating that MC saved his life and he will never forget this deed. MC questions whether he is saying oink on purpose to help his character stand out. Arash replies that he has no idea what MC is talking about. He, the son of the orc tribe chief, recovered in no time thanks to his help. Arash declares that he is the son of the Sand and Steel tribe chief and will not forget acts of kindness. He asks MC to tell him what he wants, and it will be given to him. MC thinks this is the reason he saved him. Smiling, he asks for 120 oxen to work in the mine. Arush comments that it's impossible, making MC furious, but he maintains a smile, questioning why it can't be done. The orc says he just clicked his tongue like a bad man, to which MC declines, explaining it's just a habit of his, like his oink. Arush states that they are all warriors, and warriors only follow a warrior's orders. He tells MC that even if they give him the orcs, he cannot command them. MC recalls that he heard orcs in the wild must bring the head of a wild ant for their coming-of-age ceremony, and figures that Arush must have accidentally gone too far into the ant cave and gotten paralyzed. If that's the case, MC flicks his tongue and congratulates Arush on completing his coming-of-age ceremony. Arush states that he didn't even catch a wild ant, and instead got paralyzed, labeling himself a failure. MC questions what he is talking about, insisting that they caught that creature together. Arush claims he doesn't remember catching it, and when MC asks about the large hand that did the work, he buttered up Arush, saying that his memory must have been affected while he was paralyzed. It was such an unbelievable sight when he entered the nest. The queen ant was like a pile of rags before she was attacked by a young orc. Arash questions whether he really did that, and he affirms it. Thanks to Arush, MC was able to strike down the weakened wild ant. MC continues buttering up Arush, saying they both hunt the wild ant together, and states that Arash is a great warrior, just as he is. MC brings the conversation back to the 120 orcs, to which Arush declares that he shall have them. 1 week later at the village of the Sand and Steel tribe of wild orcs. They will complete the long journey to bring back the worker orcs. However, the chief apologizes to MC, saying that his request cannot be granted. MC questions why they changed their masks His Highness Akush, the Grand Chief of the Sand and Steel tribe, for the reason behind the refusal. The chief explains that their tribe eats a lot of meat to build their muscles, hunting every day in 3 shifts. Otherwise, they would experience muscle loss, which would spell the end of the tribe. They cannot reduce the number of warriors on the hunt. MC is surprised that they go hunting every single day. The chief affirms this, explaining that meat spoils after 1 day, and if they eat it then, they will experience muscle loss. Javier questions MC, stating that protein and muscles are the essence of life for these men, and they should simply give up. MC states that if that's the case, what if their meat could last multiple days without spoiling? Then they wouldn't have to hunt 3 times a day, and they could lend him the work orcs. The chief responds that while they would like to repay his kindness, they cannot risk muscle loss. MC insists he believes it's possible, stating that he can make the meat last for days without spoiling. At the time when they moved back, upon their arrival at the village, Arush cried out to his father, who responded with enthusiasm as they dashed toward each other. When they hugged, shockwaves rippled throughout the place. Though it was just a hug, the power felt ominous. MC thought that if he were caught between them, he would be turned to smithereens. He grinned, imagining that if he could get 120 warriors like that, their productivity would increase hundreds of times. Another thing that caught his eye was that Arush had brought the body of the ant, proudly stating that he had brought back the head of the queen ant. The chief cheered, expressing his pride, and declared that in celebration, today would be a grueling leg day, making the other orcs exercise with various heavy ornaments. MC was left shocked at what they were doing with those priceless objects. They probably plundered some village or picked them up somewhere, yet they saw them as nothing more than fitness tools. MC couldn't help but grin, thinking that's why he made a contract with the tribe chief to get the worker orcs and the treasure. Xavier stated that the contractor would build a seoking for the client and would receive the fitness tools as payment. However, the fitness equipment made of stone would be improved in their places. Xavier questions about the Seok bingo thing. MC mentioned that he knew there were mages at the royal palace who used ice magic to preserve food. He thought this was like a building that could do the same thing, but without the help of magic. Xavier questioned where he had learned that, to which MC replied that it was from a student society. He wanted to explain, but wondered how there could be so many things he didn't know. Continuing, MC said that they needed to build the Seok bingo and that they required a specific rock called granite, which is extremely strong. Xavier commented that it didn't seem like it would come loose very easily. MC agreed, thinking that there was no dynamite here. But they had something else instead. Turning to Javier, he grinned, saying they had human dynamite, which made Javier think that here he goes again with that look, and that he was going to use him again. There was an important episode in the book, Night of Blood and Iron, about Nameron's Wall. A state trapped within a powerful evil magic force field contained thousands of refugees that Javier needed to save. By then, Javier had already attained the Swad Most status and could form up to 4 mana circles. But even he could do nothing but helplessly watch the refugees have their mana sapped out of them. Without even realizing it, he created his lethal skill, 1 circle to protect the main mana heart, and the remaining 3 skills smashed together, resulting in a move called Mana Blast. From then on, Mana Blast would become one of the Knights of Blood and Iron's signature moves along with the Azrahan core technique. MC, with a brazen face, said, "Don't you think he can do something like that?" Javier questioned how he knew things like this, to which MC replied that the thought just came to him. He then asked Javier to look into his eyes and see if they looked like the eyes of a liar. Javier retorted that they looked like the eyes of an extremely annoying liar. MC responded that Javier's little heart was rather dark, smiling as he added that it would be cool if he could pull it off. Javier stated that he knew MC was doing this because he wanted to get something out of him. MC insisted that he just wanted a win-win situation. Javier took his order, saying that if it was possible, it would be good for him to try. MC thought that if this worked, he would gain a lot from Javier. As Javier took his stance to stabilize 1 circle to protect his mana and mobilize the remaining 2 to release a blast effect, MC was shocked that he got it on the first try. However, his clothes were shredded to pieces, and Javier questioned whether he had anticipated this outcome. MC declined and apologized. Javier stated that his theory had proven correct this time as well, and questioned if it was now time for him to do some work. The system popped up, indicating that Javier was grateful for the teaching. His approval rating had increased by 3, and he had earned 54 RP for improving his relationship with a key character. Javier commented that, as he very well knew, he was a knight and had trained with his sword to protect his master, not to use it for construction. MC smiled, saying that Javier didn't have to thank him, to which Javier replied that he wasn't thanking him at all. After that, construction progressed at lightning pace, with Javier slicing up blocks of granite while Podong transported them. MC didn't even ask them, but the orc took up the job on their own, like some gym addicts. At this rate, MC felt they would finish 5 times earlier than planned. All they needed was some ice and insulation. MC questioned Javier about the 5 men they sent out to find the insulation, and asked how many days it had been. Javier stated that it had been 3 weeks to the day. MC noted that this was more than enough time for a round trip, and Javier suggested that one of 2 things might have happened. Either the men were being lazy and taking their time, or something had happened to them. MC insisted that they had to look for them, but Javier urged him to stop, asking to be allowed to complete this mission on his own. He stated that they didn't know what misfortune might have befallen them and that the heir to the estate shouldn't be endangered. MC questioned how many times he had to say this. He was the man in charge and responsible for all the workers. Javier requested to come along since they had left for the journey. On the way, MC spotted a glove, thinking it was a special glove he made for their man and a sign toward Progia Gorge. Javier warned MC that something seemed off, saying that the flow of mana felt unnatural, though he wasn't completely sure. MC realized that there had definitely been an episode about this in Night of Blood and Iron. He screamed at Javier that there was no time to lose. Javier questioned if MC suspected anything, and he stated that their men might already be dead, shocking Javier.